Hey guys, so in today's video, I wanted to talk about some little things that I do in order to try to set myself up to have a good day at work. So for those of you who don't know, I currently work in a nursing role at a rural health clinic. I am not a nurse, I am a medical assistant. However, our nurses at this clinic and our medical assistants at this clinic have the same exact responsibilities. The only difference is obviously one is a nurse and one is not. So what I mean by setting myself up to have a good day, I do have a little routine of things that I do to kind of make sure that everything runs smoothly throughout my day at work. So sometimes that is as simple as doing something the day before. Sometimes that is doing something while I'm at work. So sometimes what I will do, depending on which clinic I work at, because I am one of the like 2 or 3 people that they send to our outlying clinics. I do work at one on a regular basis. Every Wednesday and every Friday, I do work at one of our outlying clinics. Sometimes there are additional days during the week that I have to go to an outlying clinic. Just because I have the phlebotomy training and I've been trained at 2 of our 3 outlying clinics so far. So they send me, obviously. Now, what I will say is if I'm out there, my routine is completely different because our outlying clinics run a little bit differently than our main clinic, which is where I work 3 days out of the week on a regular basis. Like if we're going on a regular schedule, I will be at our main clinic 3 days a week and one of our outlying clinics 2 days a week. So anyways, if I'm at one of the outlying clinics, it's totally different. I will make another video if you guys are curious about like the differences between our outlying clinics and our main clinic. Our main clinic is located within the hospital, so that kind of gives you an idea of why it might be a little bit different for how things go and how things kind of progress throughout the day. So usually what I will do is before I leave work, I will check and make sure or check to see if I have any physicals or Medicare annual wellness visits scheduled for the next day. So if I do, I will print out a MICR, which that's what they're called in the state of Michigan, is a MICR. It is basically just that person's record for vaccinations, just so that I can be kind of prepared so that before my provider that I work with goes into the room to talk to that patient, I have already provided them with a list of what vaccines they may be due for. What I do is I print that list off for the provider so that he can look at it, and I will highlight the ones that it says they're due for, so then he can go in the room and ask them if they would like to get those vaccines that day. I have also created a booklet. Well, it's not really a booklet, it's like a packet of paperwork for our Medicare annual wellness visits. If you guys are curious, those of you who work as medical assistants, the clinic that I work for, we use Epic, and so we do kind of have that Medicare wellness template built into our version of Epic. I know that Epic is a little bit different based on the facility that you work for because you're able to personalize it and things like that. But if you guys are curious as to what is included in our Medicare wellness packet that I created, I can bring one of those home to show you guys kind of what that looks like. I did create this myself based on the questions that we have that we're supposed to ask the patients when they come in for a Medicare annual wellness visit. So there's a lot of questions. There is a couple of screening forms that I have included. Like I said, I can make another video showing you guys that packet and going through it and talking more about why I decided to make that packet and how it has changed kind of the workflow around Medicare annual wellness visits. I do like to use those packets, and like I said, I will go over that in another video just so that you guys can see kind of what I'm talking about and maybe why it's a better idea to have that packet. So I will make sure that I have enough copies for every Medicare wellness visit that I am going to have that day. Normally, once I get down to like 5 copies left in my desk, I like to print out some more because I like to have 20. If I get down to 5, then I'll print more. I like to go through and make sure that everything is stocked in my exam rooms. And one thing that I will say is the exam rooms that the provider that I work with and myself use, they get used over the weekend for our urgent care that is open basically every day of the week, even on holidays. And the people that work in the urgent care don't always have time to restock rooms. I try to make sure that like I have ACE bandages, gauze, iodine sticks, basically everything that you could need. I even put sutures and things like that in the rooms because sometimes my provider does a lot of like our OC health type stuff, occupational health, and he does a lot of injuries and stitch removals and things like that. So I like to make sure that he has the supplies that he needs in the rooms, and I can kind of go over my process for that as well if you guys would be interested. I'm just trying to kind of share things that I do throughout the day. I do also have 2 different pulse oximeters, pulse oximeters, so that I can check, because the facility that I work at, the outlying clinic I work at is different because we have a machine, but the facility, the main clinic, I have one that the hospital gave to me, and I have my own that I bought off Amazon that is just rechargeable, so then I don't have to look for batteries. I do also make sure that the flashlights in both of our exam rooms work just in case the power goes out. I like to make sure that we have thermometer probe covers and all that kind of stuff stocked in the rooms. Then I just kind of go through and try to look and see what patients need to be called. I try not to make any phone calls until after 9 a.m. just because I feel like it's kind of rude to call people before then, especially like elderly people. I know that it would drive me crazy if someone was calling me at 7:45 in the morning about my test results, unless it's something that is very urgent and I know that the patient is waiting for this phone call. I will wait until after 9 a.m. I try to go through like refill requests and send those to whichever provider the refill request is for. I try to send those through. I go through, because each of the providers in the clinic that I work at, has their own little mailbox. I grab my provider's mail. It's usually like papers from the fax machine or whatever. I will go through those papers. If there's anything that I can do that I don't need his signature for, I will do that myself. Like sometimes we get faxes from hospitals that are asking for a current med list and things like that. Sometimes we get like a request from a different facility where maybe the person is having a procedure or something like that, and they're asking for the most recent visit notes or things like that. And sometimes we get paper versions of refill requests, and I will just put those in electronically so that my provider can just click a couple of buttons and it's a lot easier. It makes our day go smoother. I also plan to make another video talking about like anticipating the needs of your provider, and I will explain more what I mean by that in that video, so stay tuned for that if that's something that you're interested in, because I feel like that is also important, and it kind of goes hand in hand with this video as far as like trying to make sure that you're setting yourself up for the day to go smoothly. I also try to make sure that I have water, because I am someone who ends up with a horrible migraine, especially lately with my weight loss. Like if I do not have water, I will end up with a horrible migraine, and it's not fun and it makes my day just awful. So I try to make sure that I have at least, like sometimes, you guys know I will reuse like Gatorade bottles a few times, and obviously I wash them out in between uses, but I will have at least like one of these, or I'll bring a couple and stick 1 or 2 in the fridge in the break room at work. I just try to make sure that I have that. I bring a couple of snacks in case like I'm not able to get to lunch right away and my stomach is growling, because I hate like being in an exam room and you're trying to room a patient and your stomach is growling. It's awful. But those are just some of the things that I do. I also try to, like, I keep the whole schedule open as often as possible on my computer, just so that I can see like who's here, who is like no-showing, because if someone is not there 15 minutes after their appointment time, like if you get there 14 minutes past your appointment time, you can still be seen. But if we have a packed day where the schedule is completely booked, most of the time, unless it's something really quick, like a suture removal or something like that, my provider will ask that the person reschedule instead of seeing them, just because like it's hard to stay on track when you have people coming in that are 20 minutes late and your appointment was only 30 minutes long and you have a whole bunch of problems going on that you want to talk about. So that makes things a little stressful, but I try to stay on top of the no-shows and things like that. I try to make sure, because technically we're not supposed to be scheduling, we're supposed to leave that up to the front desk people, but I do know how to schedule patients' appointments. And so like on days when I'm at the outline clinic or days where I know there's only one person at the front desk to do scheduling, I will, as if I'm talking to a patient and they're asking for another appointment, or the provider has asked me to schedule them for an appointment, I will just go ahead and schedule it with them right then, instead of trying to send them up front when I know there's only one person and they're getting bombarded with phone calls. So anyways, I hope this information was helpful for someone. If there's any information you guys are curious about as far as working in a rural health clinic or working as a medical assistant / nurse in a rural health clinic, or about what I do, feel free to let me know. I would love to share my knowledge with you guys. I know that since I started this job, I haven't really been on YouTube as much because my hours have been crazy. I started in March of 2023, just to give you guys an idea of how long I have been at this job. I absolutely love it. It is very stressful. It has been very busy. We are short-staffed. However, I do my best to bring positivity and happiness into my patients' lives every day that I am there. And I try my best to connect with each patient that I come into contact with in some positive way. So anyways, if, like I said, there's any information you guys would like me to share, any topics you would like me to discuss on my channel in the future, please be sure to let me know. I'd be glad to get something filmed for you. And with that being said, I will talk to you guys next time.